June is Alzheimer's Awareness Month, so we turn to an expert to get advice on supporting someone living with Alzheimer's.
The Alzheimer's Association uses this day, the start of summer with the most daylight, to raise awareness about the disease.
Lisa DiMeo, principal consultant with Synergy HomeCare, joins us on Brighter News. Lisa, so good to see you. First off, we know these things about Alzheimer's. It's still a mysterious disease in many ways. It impacts women more than men. And also, the amount of people every year grows more and more. What do people at home need to know the most about this when it comes to awareness?
Well, that's true. It does affect women more than men, and it affects them more as well as having the disease, but as caregivers, because most of the burden of care falls on female family members. Right now, there are about more than 6 million people in the U.S. living with Alzheimer's, and that's expected to more than double by 2050.
Lisa, talk about some of the tips that you have for people who are caregivers. It is a very tough and difficult, challenging situation.
It is, but there are things you can do to make it easier on yourself and on the person with Alzheimer's. One of the things we recommend is to always focus on person-centered care. That's kind of the hallmark of our caregiving at Synergy Home Care. And that means that you always put the person first when you're dealing with them. You minimize changing their routine. Always have a simple, calming environment. Avoid busy patterns and bright colors. Try not to control their decisions. You want to give them choice. You want them to have some independence. So give them, when you ask them to get dressed in the morning, give them a couple of choices of outfits to wear. And when they choose one, take the other one away so that they can, put on appropriate clothing for the day. And always congratulate them on a job well done, even if it's not all that well done by your standards. Always make sure that your positive reinforcement is so important, and patience is extremely important when you're caring for somebody with Alzheimer's.
That's the thing I wanted to ask you about, Lisa, because for someone who deals with someone or cares for someone with Alzheimer's or dementia in general, it's the forgetfulness and the questions over and over. And so how does one, maintain that sense of patience, because it can get very frustrating for the caregiver?
It does get frustrating for the caregiver, and we definitely recommend, first of all, that you're taking breaks, that you have more than one person who's helping with the care, because everybody needs a break. If it's not another family member or friend who can step in, then you should look into hiring somebody from a home care agency to take on some of the care. Because if you try to do it all yourself, you will burn out eventually. You can't do it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But by having that person-centered care, plan of care in place, you are going to minimize a lot of the difficult behaviors that we see. The combativeness and the frustration, just by being with that, having that patience, having that that positivity every day, and that you're dealing with that person, and that predictable routine that they can come back to again and again. They know what's going to happen as the day goes on. When is breakfast? When is time for listening to music? When is lunch? When is their snack? All those things are going to be predictable, and it leads to less frustration.
Yeah, that routine and schedule is important. Lisa, of course, today is the start of the summer season. How can you encourage people with Alzheimer's to get outside and be safe?
Right. Well, it is important that people, with Alzheimer's don't get stuck in the house and, just have the TV to kind of watch them, that they're watching day after day, and not having any change in their routine at all. It is important for them to get fresh air and exercise. So while they're able, you do want to get them out on days when it's, the weather is not too hot. You should go out in the early mornings if they're awake, or in the evenings. You don't want to go out in the heat of the day. Have them wear hats and sunscreen, and make sure that if they're using a walker or they're in a wheelchair, they have all their appropriate equipment, and that you have water with you, and you're, taking care of them in all the right ways while they're outside.
Yeah, the basics. Takes a lot of love generally to care for someone, and that's, I think, the most important thing.
It does.
Yeah, for sure. Lisa DiMeo.
Yep, from Synergy HomeCare. Thanks for joining us. Alzheimer's Awareness Month in June.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Lisa.